It's Another Side of Midnight.
Political humorist T.J. McCormick.
Now, to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC.
Here's T.J. McCormick.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, family. Hello there. Good morning, early morning, lovely, fun people. Hello there. It's me, TJ. This is Another Side of Midnight on 77 WABC. It's 2:05 a.m. from Midtown East and 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. This has been really some 17 days. I know it's an odd number, literally an odd number, but it's a number that it represents 17 days of intense news and feelings and passion and spit and anger and love, right? Confusion, fear. Since Charlie Kirk was assassinated, we have touched on every emotion, every mechanism, from defense to offense, right? We've been ticked off. We've been spiteful. We've been claiming our territory. We've been defending our loved ones and our positions and our convictions, our religion, our speech, our right to say stuff, our absolute commitment to maintaining our positions, having to fight off all those people that disagree with us, having to boost up and get behind and push do the, kind of like a tush push, get the quarterback over the end zone, pushing all the people that we agree with and love and support and get behind and wanting to strike down. If we could even kind of do that monologue from Pulp Fiction without the cursing. I don't know if we could do that editing job, but I will strike down, And I mean, how many times over the last 17 days what are we in the aftermath of, right? I mean, it's a litany to just say we're in the aftermath of the assassination of Charlie Kirk. What did that beget? In the biblical sense, right? One thing begets it. The Charlie Kirk assassination begat the Charlie Kirk Memorial. And that also got us the Jimmy Kimmel situation. We're in the aftermath of an assassin. And by the way, 17 days without a riot, 17 days without burning businesses or looting or fires or tear gas in the streets and mobs and marches and broken glass. There's no broken glass, no blocks of small businesses en fuego. None of that in the name of Charlie Kirk. But we're in the aftermath of the Charlie Kirk assassination, and that we're also in the aftermath of the Charlie Kirk Memorial. We're in the aftermath of Jimmy Kimmel and his just stupid touching of the third rail in the earliest days of raw emotion. Why did he even have to go there? Ooh, somebody slapped me. I said, go there. I didn't say don't go there. I didn't do that, but he went there. And Kimmel himself, because what did Kimmel get us? Kimmel got us a national conversation on First Amendment, what is does the Constitution provide in terms of free speech and all that? What does it? And as I said last weekend, and I still cling to this, it does not guarantee you a job. The First Amendment doesn't guarantee you a paycheck or a spot on national TV, so shut up with that. So we had Kimmel. Kimmel was about 3 news cycles. Kimmel, because what gave it legs was, well, that dopey Carr, the FCC commissioner, who didn't have to weigh in. You know, he did not have to weigh in or wade into the conversation, but he didn't have to weigh. That was already, and that was a gift to the pro Kimmel crew. That was a gift to the, you're stifling free speech, and you can say that. No. It was a business decision from the start. That whole thing, it was Jimmy Kimmel. It was the confluence of several weather fronts, if you will, where there was a couple of major groups of ABC affiliates that were going to be doing some business, and the Jimmy Kimmel stuff was not good for that business. And ABC was looking at losing all of this coverage of their show. And also they had a guy who has just been a thorn in the side. And a guy, by the way, hey, look, you know when Jimmy Kimmel benefited from the First Amendment and was able to dodge the whole Me Too thing? Don't forget, Jimmy Kimmel was a regular in blackface. Don't forget, Jimmy Kimmel was a regular in the realm of, and it was his own realm, of bouncing bodies, girls on trampolines in little skirts. That's what he was a purveyor of back in the day with the Man Show. He skated daintily around the perimeter of the Me Too movement and the original wave of cancel culture. Jimmy Kimmel has introduced so much vitriol to late night and so much axe grinding, political and personal axe grinding to late night, what had been comedy up until the last 20 years. Pretty much the end of the Letterman run, where he went from cutting edge, all American, clean cut, great, and I don't care about clean cut. I'm a dirty comic as much as I am a clean comic. I'm not saying clean cut is what we need. We don't, I'm not saying everybody has to, be a pristine cruise ship comic. I'm not saying that. And I've been that too. But Dave Letterman was the next incarnation of Johnny Carson. And that clip, we were well ahead of, how many times did you see that clip of Carson in the last 10 days or so? Talking about why late night comics, while doing political jokes, don't have to make the whole show about them and their political ideology. Not only don't they have to, they shouldn't, because that's not what they're there for. Johnny Carson played to 50 million people, 30 million people a night. Jimmy Kimmel almost seemed like he made it his mission to personally offend and cast off fully half of America. And he knew he could do that because he was at like the 2 million mark. Guy was on ABC, Channel 7, ABC TV network nationwide, and he was averaging a tick under 2 million. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so we had the last 2 weeks of just more of that. And then what came after Kimmel? So Kimmel, it wasn't just, is he going to be on, is he going to be off? Kimmel led to a national discussion on the First Amendment, right? And the government, and, and all the while, starting with Kirk, you had people getting angry. On both sides. The idea that we had both sides when it came to an assassination of a 31-year-old man, a 31-year-old young father whose entire mission was to talk. And we heard over and over and over. We heard person after person after person on the left, somehow, some way, putting caveats and qualifying their statements on the idea that he had certain views. I mean, there was no way around the fact that we had elected officials in America. We had public personalities in America. We had influencers. I'm hitting that cough button a lot. I've got these early fall allergies that are going to just be driving me batty. I apologize ahead of time for any odd gaps. Or sudden coughs that I can't control. It's weird. It's like a thing this time of year. Anyway, so many people, and again, maybe the most offensive are the elected officials, because there was a time when we held them to a certain standard, let alone a higher standard. But again, when and lies too. Oh, and lies. There were lies flying everywhere, all over social media. How many times did you see the lie that nobody acknowledged the death, the assassination, the murder of the Democrat state senator in Minnesota and her husband? Nobody acknowledged that. No. There was a unanimous resolution in Congress to acknowledge that murder, to denounce it, to repudiate it, all of that. And within a blink of an eye, Trump was out there absolutely condemning, as of course he would. And a week or two ago, when Congress tried to pass a similar resolution acknowledging Charlie Kirk's assassination, you had almost 100 Democrats either voting no or present. No or present. Because of his views. So, there were people, public people in America, let alone private slime that you and I know personally in our own lives, who were hanging an excuse. I mean, and I'm sorry, there's no nuance there. You can't be, what do they say? You can't be a little bit pregnant, right? You can't be a little bit forgiving of an assassination. That's not allowed. And I'm sorry, that's what people were doing. They were being a little forgiving of an assassination of a guy who wanted to talk. And he had views on abortion and marriage and traditional gender roles. He had views, and he said them out loud. God forbid. And him saying those things out loud, for some people in this country and other parts of the world, made it a little okay to kill him. That's just it. You can't nuance it. We're not stupid. And frankly, neither are the people who were pretty much condoning the assassination. They're not stupid either. They know who they are playing to. They know who they're afraid of. And people like Congressman George Latimer in Westchester and others in the New York contingent, Democrat contingent, they tried to carve out a little bit of honor. All it was duplicity. All it was. And they thought that they covered all their ground by saying look, of course I condemn, of course. But, he said a few things. Isn't it amazing the people who were trying to justify their own pulling of the punch in terms of condemning Charlie Kirk's assassination? They were pulling those punches based on Charlie Kirk saying things. And at the same time, they were, and this is a guy, okay, he's dead now. His body was exploded in front of the whole wide world and his children. And these are the same people who were saying that Jimmy Kimmel has a God-given that he is entitled to. He has a God-given entitlement to a job, to the public airwaves. He has an entitlement to his job. Oh, and by the way, Kimmel, when he came out with that obnoxious monologue, Kimmel, did you catch it? He compared himself to Lenny Bruce and George Carlin. I'll even give him, he compared himself to, I'll have to say, a young Howard Stern, when Howard Stern meant something, when Howard Stern was an icon. But I'll stick to Lenny Bruce and George Carlin. He said that, he brought them up, his own self. He's standing there basically comparing himself to Lenny Bruce and George Carlin, two comedians who went to jail for saying words. They went to jail for one under a Democrat president, a Democrat administration, the other one under Nixon. Lenny Bruce went to jail under LBJ. Nixon was the president when George Carlin went to jail. Those two guys, first of all, Jimmy Kimmel is no Lenny Bruce. Jimmy Kimmel is certainly no George Carlin. Both trailblazers, both geniuses, both next level brilliant, especially Carlin, especially. And those guys, again, they went to jail. They were put in handcuffs, led out of nightclubs. They had the cops in the back of the room everywhere from Vegas to the Village. Coffee houses, nightclubs, showrooms in Vegas, LA. They were harassed nightly. They were followed. It led to Lenny Bruce killing himself. That's another one Democrats pushed to an untimely death. Lenny Bruce. So those guys went to jail. That's who he's comparing himself with. Jimmy Kimmel stayed home for a couple of days collecting a paycheck in a mansion. Jimmy Kimmel is a millionaire. He owns a mansion und a yacht. And so there ends that fallacy. 1-800-848-9222, 1-800-848-WABC. If we could open the we'll open up the lines for y'all, and everyone is welcome to weigh in on this. I'm not sure where you land on all this that I'm saying. And so, in terms of the aftermath, boy, oh boy, oh boy, it's been one big 17 days of aftermath. It's the great aftermath. It sounds like what sounds like when a guy with a lisp has brunch on Sunday. Aftermath. Sorry. He has eggs and he'll order the skillet special at Denny's aftermath on Sunday. See, now that too, I could do the lisp guy all day. So we had the aftermath of Charlie Kirk's assassination. Charlie Kirk's leads to Charlie Kirk's memorial and all of that vitriol following that. Nobody was satisfied. Everybody said it was a rally. It was never intended to be a solemn service from beginning to end. And then she forgives. I mean, again, it was good aftermath and bad aftermath, by the way. I'm just saying is that it's been a news cycle. We all could use a nap. We could all use a break. Blessedly, tomorrow will be a classics, Sunday. Maybe today will be a classic Saturday. Birds chirping, a nice, what's it going to be, like 80 degrees today? A nice kind of an end of summer, early fall, Indian summer kind of Saturday. And maybe tomorrow will be a Sunday that we can enjoy just with like nothing, maybe just football. Wouldn't it be nice just to have a Sunday with football? And we got something to look forward to. Giants are cracking open a new bottle of quarterback. Tony shaking his head. That's going to be a flop too, right? Jackson Dart. Kid's gorgeous and he's got a great name. If he's just good, that's a life that I would sign up for. Be a passable quarterback in the NFL with golden locks and a name like Jackson Dart. Can you imagine how filled his dance card must be? Girls just floating on air with this god walking by. And what's his name? That's Jackson Dart. You gotta be kidding me. How good can God be to one dude? How good can God be to one man? Giving him the goods to be in the NFL. And his name is Jackson Dart. Anyway, we really could use a break after this 17 days of news. 17 days of angst and hand-wringing and gnashing of teeth and rapid heart rate and crying and screaming and angry. And then after all the Kimmel stuff, just when you thought we were going to settle, here comes the Tylenol press conference. Don't do it. I would say don't do it. They're pumping up the babies with all kinds of, like you've never seen. Oh God, he went. It was for Trump supporters, it was shades of 2016, 2017, 2018. Like racehorses. They're pumping them full of stuff. Just lining up the babies like horses. Huge long needles full of things that we've never had names for. Sometimes you got to go a long way to make a point, right? So now, then again, by the way, I'm not casting aspersions on this directive. Really, at the end of the day, okay, if you had a normal approach, a regular work-a-day approach to a press conference, that would have been the takeaway. The sum of those parts would have been, hey, there's been a lot kicking around about Tylenol and its impact on pregnant moms, and we've seen these insane upticks. And so, you know what? Talk to your doctor if you're pregnant about Tylenol, because, and it could have been hey, let's look at this. We're looking at a lot of stuff. Instead, it turns into a very, very classic 2017 type press conference. And, people rubbing their face. Now, later on, we saw those tweets and that other questionable stuff that kind of came and went like the next day, where all of a sudden it was like 2017. Tylenol was saying, well, don't take this. And people were putting up tweets that were questionable, and who knows where they came from, and were they AI? Were they real? Were they all that tumult? And then came the ICE attack. Then came the shooting. And we're going to take a break in a second. But where that shooting gets us from, or how we got to that shooting, it brings it full circle all the way back to Charlie Kirk. Brings it all the way back to Charlie Kirk. Because the baseline for bad in the 20th and 21st century, the baseline for evil, the one incontrovertible, unassailable, no such thing as the only good Nazi is a dead Nazi, right? Well, for the last God knows how long, the left have been out there calling people, calling Trump, calling other people, Nazis, fascists, transphobes, homophobes, comparing every single thing they do, every time they open their mouth, every time they stand up straight, anytime they kind of do a salute or a thing or a boom, or make a statement or compare blood to this, or talk about, right through to they couldn't even leave, Sydney Sweeney's jeans campaign alone. Even that had Aryan race undertones to it, they said. You can only, in the 21st century, you can only call someone a Nazi or a group of people the Gestapo so many times before you're putting them in danger, before some lunatic is going to try to kill them. Donald Trump turned his head at the last possible moment. God came down, turned his head. He survived. Charlie Kirk did not. And this past week, the Democrats, with all of their rhetoric, with all of their true actual hate and craziness, actually led to the death of a migrant. Not an ICE agent, but a migrant. Because this guy was not a good shot. Didn't kill an ICE agent. Killed a migrant. The one that the left is supposed to be advocating for. 1-800-848-9222. It's Another Side of Midnight with me, TJ. We're coming right back on 77 WABC.
All night long. This is Another Side of Midnight
with TJ McCormack.
77 WABC. It's Another Side of Midnight.
Political humorist TJ McCormick.
Now, to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC.
Here's TJ McCormack.
All is right in the world. There you go. Mwah. Hello there, gang. Once again, good morning. It's 2:38 here on 77 WABC. It's Another Side of Midnight with me, TJ McCormick. I'm so grateful you're there. I'm so grateful you're there. We're working this out. I'm exercising demons. And by the way, again, that ICE attack brought us all the way full circle. It was another shot, literally, at a group of people. I mean, ICE has been called Gestapo. You know, masked marauders and stormtroopers, and you can't free speech. Yes, you can. Sure, you can. I was going to say, you can't say that. Yes, you can. But you got to know there's ramifications. And actually, here I am saying you can say that. Think about it, really. Bit of a nuance. And I'm a First Amendment purist. I'm a free speech purist. Look what I do. Look what I do into this thing. Look what I do. I'm a free speech purist, but I know that when I do this into this, there are ramifications to just saying whatever the heck I want. Dr. Sky, I echo his sentiments. I'm grateful. I'm honored and grateful that Mr. Katsimatidis and Chad Lopez and all the brain trust here, all the powers that be, have entrusted me with the keys on these weekend overnights. Means everything to me. And I don't take it lightly. It's a massive responsibility. And there's ramifications to you don't do say certain things. And one of the things that you're not supposed to incite violence. You can't call for someone to be injured, murdered, assassinated. And in these days, after World War II, we all established, again, what do we say? We say, oh boy, World War II, man, you knew who the good guys were and the bad guys. Everybody knew. Well, you know what? We established that baseline 80 years ago. Nazis, just nothing but bad. I mean, it's like the understatement. No such thing as a good Nazi. It's a dead Nazi. Right. Well, by those standards, when you go around calling somebody like Donald Trump or Charlie Kirk or a group of people like federal agents, when you call them the Gestapo or the SS stormtroopers, somebody's going to take action. And when you say that somebody's views on trans rights or abortion are fascist or Nazi-like, well, there you go. And, yeah. And so it's been a 17, people say it's been a day. It's been a day. It's been a 17 days. It's been a 17 days. September 10th is when Charlie Kirk was taken from us. And here we are on the 27th. And you almost feel like the air is just starting to maybe come out of the balloon now. 1-800-848-9222. And we wrapped up the week with the General Assembly of the United Nations and people walking out on the great Benjamin Netanyahu. Benjamin Netanyahu, by the way, who had to take a circuitous route or a longer direct route, if I'm reading the articles properly. Netanyahu had to take a longer flight to get here because had he stopped to refuel at a number of places where he normally would in Europe, there was a chance he would have been arrested as a war criminal. The Prime Minister of Israel, the nation consistently fighting for its life, and the great leader of that nation. And he would have been potentially arrested for war crimes. And in several nations, including, do you know where, I don't know if you know, by the way, including the United Kingdom. Our dear pals, the United Kingdom and France, who were part of that group that decided to acknowledge a Palestinian state. So while Israel is fighting for its life, while Hamas is holding hostages, they decided to actually throw a bone to Hamas. Talk about rewarding bad behavior. And this is some of the stuff that had me angry, and I'm going to tell you, I'm going to get to the phones, and I'm going to tell you about a moment that I had in the middle of this week, smack in the middle of this past week, with my oldest friend on the planet, my oldest, dearest friend, who sent me a note concerned about just how much hate I was distributing. And I'm curious if it rings a bell with any of you. So we'll get to that in a moment. And also, later in the program, we will, cover, a couple other things, including, just how stupid Kathy Hochul thinks you are. We'll also touch on the New York Times just absolutely knocking it out of the park. Just the New York Times, just when you think they don't know what they're doing, they throw a couple of amazing moments at you on a Friday. Just, they are eloquent and lovely in their language. I gotta say, the New York Times, just when you think they might be losing their fastball, beautiful prose, as in poetry, beautiful language for some really, truly honorable people. From the New York Times. We'll talk about that in a moment. All right. So let's get over to, you know what? We got to, I talked us right up to this next break. We'll take this quick break and we'll talk to Rich and Eduardo. Rich, Eduardo, stay right there. Do not move yourselves. It's me, TJ, on Another Side of Midnight here on 77 WABC.
All night long. This is Another Side of Midnight
with TJ McCormack.
77 WABC. It's Another Side of Midnight.
Political humorist TJ McCormack.
Now, to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC.
Here's TJ McCormack.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. It is 2:49 here on Another Side of Midnight on 77 WABC, 1-800-848-9222. We're talking about 17 days of loads of emotions and loads of anger, but really, truly, man, I mean, how much love and sadness were you feeling at the beginning of the 17 days, and fear and shock and deja vu. I felt and pure horror, because how many of us saw the video of Charlie? How many of you saw it before? And it was so fast that you saw it before you could avoid it, right? I mean, it was just everything. It was everything. For 17 days, it's been anger, and news and shock and surprise. And, something, man, 1-800-848-9222. So let's get over to Eduardo. Eduardo in Florida. Good morning. Welcome to the show. Thanks for hanging in there. Eduardo, are you there, sir? Oh, okay. Let's get over to Rich. Rich in Jersey. Good morning, Rich.
Hey, Robert Palmer, big fan. Every Kind of People, one of my favorite songs.
All right.
Anyway, a funny story after I get done with these two serious stories.
Sure.
About an elevator I was in. When they get up and walk out, they tell them, well, you can't come back in.
Right.
But no, I guess they come back in, right?
Yep.
Okay, and my Godfather reference is Godfather 2.
Yes.
Remember that Don is talking to his Vito's mother, and he's a young boy. He says, please save my boy. He's not going to bother you. How do I know when he grows up he's not going to take revenge on me?
Right.
Oh, he's slow. He's no. And he blows the mother away.
Right.
And later on, he comes back, of course, with the olive oil in his hand.
Right.
The Genco olive oil, and he sees the Don, and he
Yep.
goes up there.
In his wheelchair.
What's your name? Come closer.
Yeah.
Vito Corleone. Goes, oh, you took the name of your town. What's your real name?
Yeah.
And then he guts him with the knife.
Yeah, Vito Andolini.
Now, Netanyahu knows.
Yeah.
Every young boy he feeds and tries to keep alive is going to grow up to want to kill his kids, his grandkids, but he does it anyway. Because he knows they're going to grow up to want to kill him.
Right.
And everybody he knows.
And everybody, and all of his countrymen, yes.
Yeah. On a lighter note,
yes,
I'm in an elevator a little while ago.
Okay.
My girlfriend going up to a doctor, and not my doctor, but with her.
Okay.
And a guy walks in. He had some World War II paraphernalia on a shirt or hat, I forget. And I said, he said he fought in World War II. I said, where are you from? He goes, Belgium. I said, thanks for the waffles.
Ah, nice. You could have said the fries, too.
I didn't say thanks for your service. That's the first thing they get. And
Thanks
my girlfriend just gave me that look. Oh, here we go.
Yeah. The girl, she's like, oh, geez, Rich, can't you just say thank you for your service? And so he served in Belgium.
He was from Belgium.
That's what I'm saying. He's from Belgium. And so wait, I mean, what did they do? He must have just had like a resistance or something.
Going on.
Or did he join the...
I think he was from Belgium. His family maybe came here and then was drafted and went back, or joined up and went back and forth.
Rich, I need you to do this research before you call in with these stories. Because we're all confused now.
I couldn't talk his ear off, but he kind of laughed.
Yeah. No, I like it. The waffles. Thank you for the waffles. Hey, Rich, thanks for the story. I appreciate it, and hope all is well with your girlfriend. And thanks for calling in, as always. And let's get over to Kenny in Michigan. Good morning, Kenny.
Oh, hi, TJ. I'm addicted to your show. It's unbelievable.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
But before I get to the main thing in my topics, I just want to tell everybody it's the anniversary. It's the first-year anniversary of Terrible Timmy going up to Ann Arbor, Michigan, for a college football game, Minnesota versus Michigan, and Terrible Tampon Tim gets into it with the Michigan college kids. He's going at it with them. I mean, don't those college kids want free tampons?
That's right.
But anyway, TJ.
Yes.
I'm a little nervous. The first time I've ever called, I listened to you guys. I could listen to you guys. I do on the internet, but I listen on the radio on late night.
That's the best way.
Yeah, it comes in clear. Okay. These federal judges that are ruling against Donald Trump, especially with the immigration they are mostly foreign born, and they're ruling against us. So people, when you say, oh, just come here legally, I think you're a useful idiot, because Omar came here she came here legally, but we know the shenanigans of her marrying her grandfather or some,
right.
And to leave and all of them. And
lovely people. Yeah.
Disgusting.
It is.
That's why we have to end legal immigration too. It's got to come to an end, because it's disgusting. Now, I just want to say also, nobody talks about this. Now, I know in Michigan, we have Dearborn, Michigan. We got a clown mayor in Michigan. This guy's a nut job. Yeah. He's a Muslim and he's a nut job. And it's an invasion. I mean, let's face it. Also in New York City, this guy, Madami, or whatever his name is. But why do they talk about college kids for? Those college kids, You know what they're going to do? They're going to, on election day, they're going to get drunk or they're going to light a joint up, and they're going to forget it's election day and not even vote. There's 1 million Muslims in New York City now. They're the ones that are going to put him over the top.
I tell you what, Kenny, the big hope, and I'm really glad you called in, by the way, for the first time. You sound like an old pro, so thank you very much, and your kind words at the top of the call were lovely. The one shot, I think that the other, again, it would be helpful if at least somebody dropped out. But the one shot that the one shot that we all have is the idea that this is just going to be an insanely low it always is low turnout, election. It's going to be like 20% of the electorate is going to show up. It's maddening to think about out of 8+ million people in this city. Like, it's going to be a tiny fraction of eligible voters who are going to show up. And that's the only hope that anybody has of pulling this thing out in some sort of squeaker shocker on election day. But right now, I mean, it looks like it's going to be this lunatic. The city with the largest Jewish population outside of Israel is going to have a guy who, try to take it back all he wants, has talked about globalizing the Intifada. Ain't that lovely? The Upper West Side of Manhattan. A classic liberal Democrat Jewish enclave, a proper neighborhood, Zabar's and the Y and all of that. And they're gonna actually carry this Mamdani. They're gonna vote for this guy. It's Riverdale, the Bronx. Are they actually gonna do this? Are you actually going to vote for this guy? We're coming up to the top of the hour. We're still going to keep talking about this 17 days. It's almost like a biblical reference. 17 days we've all been wandering, and just ups and downs and angers and sads and elation and again, just, the fear, the fright, the gore, the blood, the sadness that there was babies, there was children involved that their dad died. And, and then we had the elation and the jubilation of that incredible service. We references to Jesus Christ and politics within, an hour. We saw Elon Musk shaking hands with Trump all over again. And I mean, we've been all over the map emotionally, intellectually, politically, spiritually, artistically, constitutionally, internationally. I don't know. All right, gang. I'm going to tell you about my best friend in my whole entire universe. My best friend called me up and said, I'm hating too much. And I'm going to tell you about our conversation, and I'm going to ask you if it rings a bell in your world. My name is TJ McCormick. This is Another Side of Midnight. It's 77 WABC. We'll be back.
It's Another Side of Midnight. 77 WABC. This is Another Side of Midnight
with TJ McCormack.
Now, to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC.
Here's TJ McCormack.
Good morning once again, 3:05 here on a Saturday in September. It's another side of midnight. I'm TJ McCormick, and this is, I don't know, like every time I look up and I see that, the Bernard McGuirk studio, you gotta be kidding me. This is, what an honor. What a cool thing. What a great thing. And I'm so grateful that you're all there. Thank you, family. And over there on X, Twitter, whatever you wish to refer to it as, we've got a very cool thing cooking over at TJ McCormick on X. And I know a lot of the regulars there. Catherine is there, and thank you so much, Catherine. Marianne, we've got Michael over there, and sorry about that there, Michael. We made it all better for you. And we've got Corn Pops Burner and Larry's over there. Thank you, gang. Thank you. Florida at the races. Thank you. By the way, is it Florida at the races or FL at the races? Let me know what that, am I reading, am I reading an abbreviation for Florida, or is it FL? Is it like your name is like Frank Lawrence at the races? I don't know. But everybody over there at TJ McCormick on X, thank you so much for supporting the show and chiming in, and very cool, and you're awesome, and I love you. I'm grateful beyond. 1-800-848-9222, 1-800-848-9222. And by the way, if you're over there on X, and again, thank you so much. Let me just say, just real quick, FL there, Florida at the races. Tuning in just a bit late, Trump and Elmo cooling relations again. Yes, Elmo. Very funny. Larry, first time tuning in. Thank you for something live at 2:50 a.m. You are welcome. Thank you for being there live, listening live. Thank you. Very cool. Again, Michael, apologies. We've got the music back in line there. All is well in the universe. Marianne, you're awesome for retweeting and all of this. And Catherine, your kind words always mean the world. Catherine there, saying, disagrees with my friend. I'm a very caring person. And, you were also hoping for, you know what? Catherine there with a vote for Craig Ferguson to return to late night. I tell you, I was a late bloomer to Craig Ferguson, and, I end up digging a lot of these clips that are flying around on social media. Craig Ferguson's show, some great moments he had. He's a very funny guy. Stand up from Scotland. 1-800-848-9222. So, okay. So just to address this thing with my friend, my oldest, dearest friend in the whole universe, met her. And that's as far as we'll go. Met her, in first grade. So, wow. This is our 50th anniversary of being friends. Wow. Because I guess what? You're 7 in first grade, right? 6 or 7? So, all right. So maybe our 51st year, are you 6 or 7 in first grade? I don't know what we were. But we met in first grade in Sunday school when we were both in public school at 2 different public schools. Went to to Sunday school together, CCD. And eventually ended up in the same Catholic elementary school. We have remained friends since first grade. 51 years of friendship. Actual genuine love, affection. And the biggest fans of each other's spouses and our kids. And I got a text, and the text, it was like Tuesday or Wednesday. And I had been really throwing out some stuff on social media channels, on a personal page, not a business page. Certainly not an official thing with the show. But a personal page. And I threw out some really truly heavy language to describe Democrats. I admit it. I threw out a couple of golden, truly third rail, you don't say that word. And I didn't write the word, but I used the asterisk and the pound sign to take up letters, so I didn't really write the word, but I was describing Democrats as, thusly. And my friend, I get this. This is the text I got. Okay, here it was. This is the text. TJ says, all right, as long as you play the blame game, you are part of the problem. This was the opening entree to this texting that eventually turned into a phone call. And this it was Monday, came on Monday at 10:49 Eastern time. As long as you play the blame game, you are part of the problem. You are holding and dispersing hate. It's hard to watch you do this. Change happens when we come together. Love you. All right. Now, I got defensive instantaneously. You have to own your part in it, right? So I own my part in the sense that I was using some pretty salty, bad language, throwing out some stuff at Democrats, at the left, and saying that, they had some blood on their hands due to all the vitriol and all the Nazi, fascist Nazi. And my response was, when they said, it's hard to watch you do this. I said, hard to watch me do what exactly? So I'll even read my tweets, my text. I'll read my tweet with the inflection that I wrote it. So, first I said, what? And then I said, hard to watch me do what exactly? So I was getting real, And then I told my best, dearest friend in the world, I'm going to own all this, gang. I said, take the passive aggressive judgment somewhere else. This is my oldest friend in the world, and I didn't give them the breathing room. I didn't give them, this was rapid too. I didn't breathe. I didn't take a moment. By the way, we might as well be in the recovery conversation. We might as well be in sober hour. That's not until 4 a.m. We're kind of getting ahead of ourselves. I needed to breathe a little bit. Maybe I needed to take a moment and consider the source, right? But no, I went full defensive and I said, take the passive aggressive judgment somewhere else. This is my oldest, dearest friend, 50 plus years. And again, no response. I kept coming back. Bam, 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 bam to this person that I love. And I said, it would be fascinating to see an outreach like this that you might have sent to liberal friends making the same judgment. I was, oh my God, I haven't read all this since I am, can you hear my hand on my face? Can you hear my hand on my face as I'm like, I can't believe I did that. And I said, I love you too. You could tell a little bit of time went by. I love you too. Next time, just call. And then I came back because I was all irritated. Now I'm really defensive and now I'm really angry at her for messing with my mind. And I said, my day is blanked. Probably best if you call me sooner rather than later so this doesn't just sit there. And then we spoke. About 20 minutes after all that, we had a conversation. Fleshed it out a little bit. Helped them understand where I was coming from, a lot of my concerns. Now, this is where I open it up to you. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. Have you been called out by friends for a position? Either in these 17 days of back and forth and gnashing of teeth, or in general, Have you ever put something up on social media and had someone that, you know, in the name of loving you or in the name of like, we're friends, but I'm done with you. I'm kind of opening this up to the wider net, the larger umbrella of social media and this whole thing, the being dropped, unfollowed by a friend or a family member. All right. I'm sure. Okay. If you want to talk about a Thanksgiving table argument, we can do that too. That qualifies. But have you been, but I'm really thinking now again, my friend and I, we're good. We both concur that we can learn from each other. I really wanted them to call the show this morning. I really wanted. And they're just not functioning at this hour. And a recorded interview wouldn't have done it. I don't know. I really wanted to do an organic, out there conversation about this in front of everyone and maybe lead by example. But, have you experienced that? And what was your response? My response was defensive. Have you been called out? In this case, I don't think it was, at first it felt like I was being called out, but, or challenged or chided. I felt like I was being chided and I felt that she was being a little bit too, and again, we're good now. I'm telling you how I felt at the moment. And again, when I tell you that I love this human being, and have loved for 50 years. I've got friends that this is, again, to know that someone that you can, the idea that you can point to your chronologically oldest friend and not like, I'm sure there was kids I met on the playground at 4 that I just don't even know who the hell they are. This is a person that has been in my life consistently since first grade. And never looked back. There's actually another person that was in that classroom too, possibly. But, that I still talk to. But this person, a lifelong love affair with this person. And just, and I got defensive and I got snarky and, and look, again, being honest, their positions on things are kind of not ill-informed, but not fully fleshed, not fully informed. And I'm not saying that they would agree with me. I'm not saying she would agree with me if, but, we are kind of the same person intellectually and morally and spiritually. And so, yeah, if she was on the phone right now I'd tell her, hey, A, B, C, D, right? And she'd say, yeah, E, F, G, H, I, J. And I'd say, boom, well, there you go. You see? Because 9 times out of 10, when I do inform her or when I fill her in on some facts and some figures and some stuff because I do this all the time. Yeah, she realizes, I didn't know that. And I go, you see? Now, again, she said I was purveying and that I was kicking around some hate and that I was kicking around some anger. Now, and that's the other question too. And we're going to get to the phones. Here's the other part of the question. A, have you been called out? Have you been chided by a dear friend, a family member, or a friend in general? It doesn't have to be a lifelong 50-year relationship. A friend, a pal, a coworker. Has somebody called you out, chided you, shamed you, criticized you for being angry, going out there with a big statement, or just your political or social positions? And here's the part 2, or 1A. Hate. When is hate justified? And is it hate or is it straight up anger? I can tell you that I was angry I was angry about some people and things that I hate. But, so maybe I'm being too cute by half here. But, or I'm being semantic. Or dogmatic. Hi, dramatic. Holy cow, I'm grease lightning. Anyway, have you been called out, lost a friend, been blocked, unfollowed? Have you been social media wise? Have you been blanked by people? Blanked. I mean, have you been put aside, unfollowed, unfriended by friends? You go looking for somebody and you go, oh my God, they're not there anymore. And then you realize, you try to call them or text them and they're like, yeah, no, I'm done with you. That's a brick wall. That's a get smart. Boom. The big doors just slam. All of a sudden you're Maxwell Smart trying to get through that hallway. And your friends are just bam. Has that happened? Have you been able to work it out? 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. Have you found yourself fighting for your life with a friend and trying to keep a relationship in good shape? Thank God this one, we should be just fine. 50 years is not going to go away because I use really bad language on social media. But does this ring a bell? Is this familiar? Have you done it? By the way. And there we go. There's 3. All right. A, have you been shunned, blocked, unfriended, called out, given a cold shoulder at a reception or a dinner by a friend over your politics? B, is it hate or is it anger? And is there righteous hate? Is it okay to hate? There's justifiable homicide, war, death penalty. Can you hate? Is it okay to hate? And here's the third. Just occurred to me. Have you been the one that did the blocking? Have you unfollowed a friend because you just can't take it anymore, Felix? I'm telling you, Felix, get out. I hate notes. I hate little notes, Felix. I can't stand Democrats, Felix. You're a Democrat. You voted for Obama, and then you voted. Little bit of odd couple there. Do you have an odd couple? Do you have an odd couple relate? Oh, I got like 5 now. I got like 4 questions here. I can't land on a question. I got to go to the phones. Here's the last one. Do you have a Felix and Oscar relationship that works? How about that? I mean, so in other words, we're just all angles of this. Friendships, politics. All right, let's get over to Tom in the Bronx. Tom in the Bronx. Good morning.
Yes. Thank you so much for taking my call.
Of course.
TJ. I just wanted to, we were talking about Lenny Bruce, and I started reading while I was listening to you.
Oh, cool.
And he had a lot of guts.
Mm-hmm.
He had a lot of guts. But then I started looking at, the whole thing of censorship. And you see South Park, they attack every sacred cow.
Yep.
They go hard on Christians and Jesus. It's blasphemy.
Yes.
But you know where they draw the line? When it comes to mocking Muhammad. Self-censoring. So they're really cowards. And I take a page from the Muslims' extremist book. I don't like doing that, but I think that we should stop South Park and other venues from going after Catholics, Christians, and Jews. If they're not, the great grandnephew of Van Gogh, his name was Theo. He's from the Netherlands. He produced a movie that showed how.
Right.
For some of your listeners.
Yes.
And they tried severing his head.
Yeah.
And now, so we're all going to walk around on eggshells.
And Charlie Hebdo, the French newspaper, they got blown up because they did the unthinkable.
So the best way to get him is like Pamela Geller in Texas.
Right.
She had a contest, Draw Muhammad, and it naturally attracted two would-be Muslim assassins. And she had marksmen or cops sitting out there that blew their heads off.
Oh.
So this is how you're going to have to deal with it. We cannot claim to be a free speech culture, but we draw the line with one group. But we go after Jews.
You know what though? Tom? You know what it speaks to? People don't want to get blown up. You know what I mean?
Well,
people don't want to get blown up.
Well, then they shouldn't attack anybody.
I know. And look, and you know what?
Why
to your
do we
point,
let them get away with it? What's the matter with? We're a bunch of wussies.
I know, but
I'm a proud Catholic. I don't like it. I'm going to start going after South Park. They're disgusting. I watch them all the time. They do things
that
are so terrible.
And to your point,
and they
Tom,
want to show, look at us. They're not brave. They're cowards.
Tom, to your point, they pulled the Charlie Kirk thing out of their own South Park Charlie Kirk episode, out of respect and deference and concern. And yet it was funny. The immediate response was from the Kirk camp was that, wait a minute, you know what? Actually, Charlie Kirk got a kick out of that. Charlie Kirk felt that he had arrived when they were taking little shots at him. And, he probably did love it. He was a fun-loving guy and did everything. He was a joyful warrior for Jesus. And, and it's interesting that you bring up South Park.
For a very long time. I loved him.
I love him.
Loved him. He says, prove me wrong.
Yep.
See?
Let's talk about it.
You know what you do when you can't debate somebody? You kill them.
I know. Tom,
that's why they do
thank you, buddy.
You can't debate.
I'm grateful for you calling, Pally. I really am. Thank you, Tom. Thanks for being there. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being excited to be on the show. Very, very grateful. Larry in Tampa. Larry, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, TJ. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you for calling.
Yes, sir. If we were to look at the Supreme Court in 1969 case of Brandenburg versus Ohio, I think we'd find that it is illegal for me to hire a billboard saying that Mondami is a clear and present danger to the city of New York. And since he's a mayoral candidate, we must kill him.
Okay.
And we need to kill him because
this is what you're, and by the way, you're not saying that, you're saying if there was a sign that said that, you're giving an example of a hypothetical sign. Just, yes, go ahead.
That's correct.
Yes.
How does that differ from former director of the FBI, James Comey, finding what he claims to be a message to him in the way of a seashell?
Wow, you're right. Go ahead.
Implies, suggests that Mr. Trump is a clear and present danger, and doing it by doing it in that veiled manner.
86.
That veiled manner, playing stupid, clever cute by halves, cleverly doing that, and disavowing his prior knowledge. Whereas I think it's safe to assume to presume that he crafted that whole scenario. And by virtue of the fact that all he did by publishing that information, he published it. That indicates to me that he knew what it was. In other words, he put his hands like Waltz would do. I don't know what that means.
I'm a knucklehead. I'm just a knucklehead. This guy is one of the smartest men. I mean, to become the director of the FBI, the guy's a lawyer. He's a leading crime fighter, a leading prosecutor. This guy was the head of the FBI, and he actually said with a straight face that he didn't know what 86 meant. Absolutely, just, I mean, you know.
Why didn't Trump charge him with I think he should be charged with issuing a veiled threat.
Well, this you can prove. The stuff that he's being charged with, you can prove it. And look, if he goes to jail, then there is a certain amount of satisfaction that guys like you and me will have, and maybe not for the reason that we would really love for him, like what you're saying, this thinly veiled threat, or not even so thinly veiled threat against the commander in chief. No, I'm totally with you. It was embarrassing and stupid, and people who carried his water in that news cycle should be ashamed, but they never will be ashamed because they think they're on the side of the angels. Larry in Tampa, thank you so much, buddy. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We come back. We got Pete, Ben, Rick, and Lois all waiting to go. It's Another Side of Midnight on 77 WABC. We'll be right back.
All night long, this is Another Side of Midnight
with TJ McCormack.
77 WABC. It's Another Side of Midnight.
Political humorist TJ McCormack.
Now, to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC.
Here's TJ McCormack.
1-800-848-9222. And Pete on Staten Island. Good morning. Hello there, Pete.
Yeah, PJ, I wanted to have a mass for Charlie Kirk at one of my church. And I called up and I was planning it out. And they told me, okay, so we were setting a date. And about 3 hours later, I get a phone call. I said, well, we didn't realize that date was already taken. You know, so I said, what about I have to make another date? And it says, well, maybe you don't have, could you provide protection, police protection? I said, why?
What?
I want to have a mass said. So I moved on to another church and I contacted them. And what I thought of, one of my friends said, I said, well, I want to have a mass for my friend Chris Kennedy. The same initials. And they says, oh, okay, fine. And I'm in the midst of planning that out, because Charlie, I met him at St. Patrick at Bernie McGick's second funeral at St. Patrick. His first was in Long Island. I mean, I actually know the beach there, Long Beach, So he helped carry my wife's wheelchair up.
Yeah, you had mentioned that one time, Pete.
Yeah, so I wanted to have a mass for because I followed him a little bit, but the kindness that he showed in helping me with that wheelchair was, it was really something.
It sounds like classic. It sounds like classic Charlie Kirk there, Pete. Wow, thank you so much. That I remember the first time you told us that story. That was lovely. And again, it sounds like, a classic Charlie Kirk moment and, just a good young man. It's 339, 1-800-848-9222, talking about relationships, won and lost relationships due to politics, due to, your personal convictions. Have you lost people on social media? Have you had that classic Thanksgiving dinner scrape? Have you done that? Has that happened? And again, I'm wondering, have you been the one? I'm trying to think because I'm just clearly as honest as I can be. I am honest with you all. And I think I blocked one person or unfriended them out of, I was just exasperated. It was exhausting and, it was unhealthy and it wasn't one-sided. It wasn't like I just, those are your views, Gonzville. No. It was after a long, protracted trying and the person was just so disagreeable and whatever. But I'm also wondering, do you have a relationship with somebody on the other side that just thrives? And you guys, you get a kick out of it, you spar, you bicker. You can bicker, you can talk. You can bicker, you can talk. You can talk. You can bicker. Anybody know what that's from? Anybody want to call in with that one? Where did I get that from? What? I don't even want to give a hint as to what the genre is. You can talk. You can talk. You can bicker, you can talk. You can talk. You can bicker. Okay? Tell me if you know what that's from. Just, Call in if you know it. 1-800-848-9222. By the way, I did get told off. I got told off for singing. I got told off on a message board for singing. Don't sing on the radio. Not good. Person really had at it with me. It was funny. I don't really, April, May, June, I would have been a bit wounded. Come September, I'm like, hey, thank you for listening. Kill 'em with kindness. Kill 'em with kindness. I said, thank you for listening. I'm glad you're there. Always looking to make the show better. Thank you. Have a lot of fun with that singing. Ben in Montvale. Curious about this, Ben. Good morning. Welcome. Welcome to the show there, Ben.
Hi, TJ.
Hi. Good morning.
I'm a first-time caller for you.
Thank you.
I don't really call in too frequently. I do listen to WABC actively all day long.
It means a lot that you picked up the phone, and that's not a cliche. I really mean it. It means a lot. Thank you for calling in and listening.
You got me with the, this particular topic. I'm not a guy who calls in on a lot of the political commentary. I do enjoy listening to it.
Sure.
I let other folks, go off on whatever their philosophies are. But,
sure.
This thing around losing friends and the political divide that we're dealing with in this country is really shaking me up. And, your conversation around, I guess you had a friend that it sounds like you might have completely lost their
No, I'm thank God I'm good with them. It's a 50-year relationship, but we sort of cleaned house a little bit, but we're good. But go ahead. What happened with you?
Yeah. So in my case, similar to yours, this is a person I went to kindergarten with.
Wow.
I'm 63 years old.
Whoa.
So,
wow.
That was quite a while ago. And about 2 years ago, this person basically divorced himself from me. He didn't have the courage to call it outright, the fact that it truly is a political divide. But, as I've been listening to you and you've been trying to change the scope of what you're trying to get your listeners to opine on, our little group of friends, over the years have had a fairly, exercised conversation across the political divide, right?
Okay, sure.
Most of my friends, I'm a Republican, although most of my friends are actually Democrats. And I understand why that's the case. I'm a musician and I do a lot of things which, allows me, not professionally, but, at a high level. I'm a high-level amateur. And
sure.
Again, I do a lot of things that puts me in a position where I'm around a lot of Democratic.
I totally get it. My whole life I've been in show business, my entire adult life. So
sure you are. Right.
But
so,
but I can relate. Mm-hmm.
So this is probably going to be a little bit of an unusual comment for you. Is my hunting buddies are all Democrats except for me. I was one of four primarily. There's about 5 or 6 of us, but 4 solid guys. Me and the other 3 are Democrats. And in terms of your recent comments, I have found that while I've been divorced by my best friend of over 50 years, kindergarten in 1967, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, sure.
And again, he called me out 2 years ago in 2023 in the summer, and it was over something else. It was in disguise. It was some confrontation over like a lawn tractor type thing.
Okay,
but it was over the fact that we have been starting to have a much more significant divergence over the last few years. I noticed when we would go on our little hunting trips, because we would go away several times a year on extended long weekends and things.
Nice.
We're bird hunters, by the way.
Okay.
So we go upstate New York, and over dinner we would start to have these conversations. And when we got into the COVID years, it's when it got a little bit more heated. Got heated over, as you know, all the COVID discussions.
Yeah, no, and it was
very
divided on party lines. Yeah.
Right. In terms of, vaccinations and
masking
masking, all of that. And my friend that I'm talking about is professionally, he was a science teacher for his entire career. So he saw himself as an intellectual,
Mm-hmm.
and I think the issue, and the facts are that he divorced himself from me.
Sure.
I mean, he said, we had a confrontation, and he basically severed the relationship.
Wow.
And he was
his choice.
Clear.
Choice.
His choice.
Okay.
You're selfish. You're transactional. You're all these. He just leveled me with a series of charges.
So let me ask you this. Well, go ahead. But I have a question for you. But go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
But
tie it all together.
Before that, we would have a lot of conversation, and this was, you go back 10, 15 years. There was always a political separation between our philosophies, and it was part of the spirit of what you're saying. I think we enjoyed having that
yin and yang,
active. Yeah, that yin and yang.
So let me ask you this then, Ben. So you said that's interesting. So that last little question that I sort of threw in at the end about, do you have that, contentious political relationship, but you thrive on it? So you guys sort of devolved from having a good back and forth, sort of a Felix and Oscar, politically, and eventually the intellectual seemed to have enough. The intellectual couldn't maintain that agree to disagree mentality. And so let me ask you this. I mean, did you?
I'm pretty sure I know what the exact comments than the dinner that we were at that caused this confrontation.
Tell me real quick.
It was over immigration. I mean, we're at dinner. The other friends hadn't arrived yet. It was a little earlier in our week. Usually we go away Thursday through Monday or Tuesday, right? So we got there a little early. He and I went to dinner ourselves, and the host of our the bed and breakfast is also a Republican woman. And his comments to me at dinner, she went and she started in on me, Benny, and she really was, and I really was about to let her have it. And I said, so Ed, before you take a position, what did she say? Because there's a good chance I probably
agree with
might align with her. and that's when he just turned and looked at me and said, it had to do with immigration. And he said, we have to have a thriving immigration. We have to allow these people into the country. There's a declining birth rate here. And I stepped back and, he is a lot more well-read. I said, look, Ed, I think the problem that I have is just the fact that we're not vetting anybody.
Right.
And it's just an open border.
And you're assuming that he's going to go, okay, I can see that, but.
Yeah, he didn't say that. His position was, and his quote was, you're completely uninformed.
So let me ask you this. And I'm sorry to cut you off, but let me ask you this, Ben.
I know you got a commercial.
No, I do. But let me just ask you, was the harshness of his position, did that help you to sort of heal eventually? Were you able to sort of reconcile this whole thing?
It's still one of the most painful things that I've ever gone through in my life. And I wake up every day and I think about this guy.
Oh my God.
This is not a basic relationship. This is a guy that not only was I best friends with since kindergarten, but my family, when we were children, almost took him in under our wings.
You know what?
This is a guy who ate dinner at our house 3 or 4 times a week. He went on almost every vacation with us.
Ben, I'm writing myself a note. Hang in with me into the next hour because I'm going to touch on some, because that's when we talk about recovery. I do a little bit about about sobriety and stuff like that. And there is a step in AA that I'm going to talk about, and maybe you can relate to it. And maybe you might be able to bridge a gap here with this old buddy of yours. Thank you for calling. Right. Definitely have to take this break. And when we come back, we'll get to everybody else on the line, Lois and Rick. And we got a buddy over there on I-81 in Virginia. Oh my God. All right. So keep it on the road. We'll come back. It's another side of midnight with me, TJ, at 77 WABC. We'll get to all y'all in just a sec. Hang right in.
All night long. This is another side of midnight
with TJ McCormack.
77 WABC. It's another side of midnight.
Political humorist TJ McCormack.
Now to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC.
Here's TJ McCormack.
It's 3:53 here on 77 WABC. 1-800-848-9222. We're talking about relationships and coming out of weeks like we just had, 2 weeks like we just had, 17 days of vitriol. I mean, thing. Everybody was going through thing for 17 days. You could go, you know what? You could just be sitting there getting your hair did. And somebody gonna come up on your face and give you thing about Look at me appropriating over here. Look at me. 1-800-848-9222. I can't see. Let's get over to, Rick in Jersey. Rick, good morning. Welcome.
Yes, good morning.
Hey.
Good morning, TJ.
Hi there.
I don't know if this fits into your thing, so if it's not right on target, I apologize.
Take a shot.
Okay. I have been having a tiff with a female friend that I've been friends with over 52 years, actually.
Okay. Sounds like it fits. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Let's just say she's very technically challenged. Okay. So
okay.
She doesn't even know what Bluetooth is. Never mind have a Bluetooth. Okay.
All right.
So I'm trying to help her because, and I'm trying to give her advice. And she tried to tell me that her TV took 5 buttons to turn on. And I tried to explain to her this new way in the room. You have to push 5 buttons to make your TV go on. You're doing something wrong.
Right.
I tried to give her advice.
Yeah.
And she wouldn't take it. And I said, why don't you ever take advice? She goes, oh, I take people's advice, but just never from you. And I felt very insulted,
You should have unplugged her TV and not told her and left her with the buttons.
Well, she lives in California. But anyway, so I felt very insulted, and I got angry. And I responded with anger, and I said, F you, and hung up.
Wow. You see now, okay, now let me ask you this. Okay, here you go. Okay, let's take this to another intellectual level that will definitely, because that is a little off topic, but, because here's the thing. You went off the handle and you did the blank you and blank off and all that stuff with this person who's near and dear. Similarly, I got very defensive with my lifelong friend and I got very passive aggressive and accused her of being passive aggressive her damn self. And here's the thing. I think it's because I was so insulted at first because here's this person, and it was a one-way street for me in this case.
There you go.
All right. I believe it was a one-way street for me. And so I'm kind of calling myself out on this because I was like, how dare she question how dare she call me hateful? And how dare she say that I'm part of the problem if I don't blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, I didn't even give now look, yours is a bit of a one-way street because she said, your friend said, I don't take advice from you. Are you sure she was? Are you sure, A, are you sure she wasn't being funny? And B, do you find that you told her to blank off because you were so emboldened because you've known her all these years and you're entitled to telling her to blank off?
Well, no, TJ, when someone tells you, if she just said, I just never take advice, that's one thing.
That's one thing.
I take advice from everyone but you.
So how long ago is this, Rick?
It's been a year now. I haven't spoken to her in a year.
You know what?
No. Let me finish.
You know what I'm going to say? Pick up.
Yeah. Everybody's going to say, well, why don't you be the bigger man?
You be the bigger man. Yeah.
No, I'm tired of being the bigger man. I've been the bigger man all my life. And every time later on, I go, I should have stood my ground.
I know. The high road, the high road can feel like the desert.
No, let me get to the point.
I'm with you.
So I was about to call her back about a week or two after that, and I was going to apologize. But I heard through a mutual friend. She goes, well, she's not going to talk to you anymore unless you apologize. I said, okay, I'll apologize. But I expect an apology, too. That was very nasty. I'm trying to help her.
Jeez.
I'm giving her advice because I want to help her. I'm not. I wasn't like accusing her or anything. And she cuts me down like I'm some kind of whatever. And I said, I'd like an apology too. Oh, she said she will never apologize.
Well, then you know what, Rick? I'm on your side. You officially have the weight of my radio show on your side. I'm with you. This is a good moment to stand your ground, because if she's not willing to meet you halfway, she and her 5-button flipping TV.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, no. I'm with you 100%. Thank you, Rick. Here endeth the lesson on that one. Yes. All right. Let's see. I don't want to give short shrift to anyone who's holding. And, so we're going to take our top of the hour. And Jeff on Interstate 81 in Virginia, you stay right there, because you're on the damn highway. You're going to be the first one we go to right there when we come back, in the 4 o'clock hour. We come back in 4 o'clock. We're going to talk a little bit of recovery. I've got an idea for Ben in New Jersey that's directly related to how I am supposed to live my life as a sober man. And it definitely involves the high road, Ben. It involves the high road, but it's kind of like a colonic. Imagine a colonic on the high road. A high colonic. That's right. High colonic. It's a high colonic on the high road. Sometimes the high road can be like Interstate 81 at 3:59 in the morning. Lonely. Quiet. And then Radar Love comes on and you floor it. All right. We're coming back. It's Another Side of Midnight with TJ McCormick on 77 WABC.
It's Another Side of Midnight, 77 WABC. This is Another Side of Midnight
with TJ McCormack.
Now to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC.
Here's TJ McCormack.
Good morning, family. It's 4 a.m., 4:05 a.m. on what's going to be a lovely Saturday. And I'm really looking forward to the Sunday morning broadcast. I can't wait to talk to you guys tomorrow morning as well. Here on Another Side of Midnight, 77 WABC, 1-800-848-9222. We're talking about relationships, and we're talking about all this we're talking first and foremost about these 17 days since Charlie Kirk's assassination. Again, 17 days without violence and riots and all of that stuff. But there's been plenty of gnashing of teeth and vitriol. And I mean, it's not just anger that we experience. And it's not really from the moment that it went down. It was, I mean, ups and downs. I mean, not ups and downs. I mean, it was mainly down. It was awful. But you experienced love for this guy, for your own family. There were moments where speaking for myself, I was reflecting on just how much I love my daughters, my wife, how much I love my life with an L, my life. And how grateful that I've made it 57 years. And I'm grateful for my daughters, and I'm grateful. I'm getting into the recovery thing without even seeing it coming. All of a sudden, I realized what I was about to say. I'm grateful for my sobriety. I'm grateful to be alive. I'm grateful, I mean, and I mean, and that was certainly a result of, or it was one of the ancillary feelings, sensations, reflections that I was having in the aftermath of Charlie Kirk. And then in the immediate rapid fire aftermath came the Kirk Memorial, and at the one moment you're in awe, at the other moment you're humbled, at the other moment you're laughing because Trump is being Trump, and at the other moment you're being hopeful, and at the other moment you're feeling full of Jesus and God and faith and whatever it is that you believe in, higher power, when you see Erica Kirk forgive her husband's murderer. You feel humility. Because could I do that? Probably not. And then there's anger, fury in my case, at the left, at the Democrat politicians who continued to double and triple and quadruple down on fascist, Nazi. The very language that, in my opinion, got us to a dead Charlie Kirk. It's just one thing after another. All of these emotions and feelings and thoughts and concepts and realities and falsehoods. And you know what I mean? It has been an everything for 17 days. It's been one thing after another, and no two things, there's no rhyme or reason to it. And in the middle of all that, I had a moment with a 50-year friend of mine. And I'm asking you, have you had those run-ins with people you love, you like, that you work with, that you play softball with, that you live next door to, that you see on the bus or the train? Have you had a moment? And social media, have you been blocked? Have you blocked somebody? So I'm going to get over to Jeff on line 3 on 81. Are you still on 81?
No. I'm in Blacksburg now. I'm parked. I'm safe.
Oh, are you a truck driver, sir?
No. I'm a retired corporate stress junkie that's driving a cab in retirement.
Oh, wow. That's my
dinosaur.
My first day job as a struggling comic back in the 80s was I drove a cab. I drove a taxi.
Well, that's it. We're the same cut.
Yeah, I mean, for sure.
We're just a cross between a bartender and a stand-up comic.
100%.
So, yeah. No,
so tell me.
I won't waste your time.
No, please tell me. Talk to me, Jeff. What's up? What's on your mind?
A couple of years ago, I showed up. I'm a bowler.
Okay.
And I showed up for the first night of the fall season, and I walk into the bowling alley, and I find my guys that I've been bowling with for over 10 years. And the captain of the team says, I didn't know you were coming back. I replaced you. Now, this is a team I've been bowling with, of guys that I've been bowling with for over 10 years.
Sure.
But the year before, one of the guys, the captain, had swerved into a political situation, and I found myself drawn into explaining Donald Trump, not defending him, but explaining him.
Right.
Because my friend had gone off on a thing that I just couldn't allow him to continue to think without giving him a little more information to work with.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the same guy that a couple of years before that had called me up and said, look, I'd like to move the team to another league in another house, but I'm not going to do it if you're not going to bowl with us. Because, well, for one thing, I carried the high average on the team. I was an anchor, but I was a high average.
Okay.
And because I brought it up, I tried to explain Donald Trump to him, and this is a standard fare that I put out. It's, Donald Trump is simply a bombastic, crass, sometimes ill-spoken, and often inarticulate billionaire with a businessman's mind and a construction worker's mouth. He's the epitome of every anti-hero that we go to a theater and drop $30 on popcorn and a drink for.
Gotcha.
Every Saturday night.
Sure.
And I carried that conversation out to the parking lot. I thought I had given him enough information to, hey, he was suffering from, what is it, the Trump derangement syndrome.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to talk him off the ledge here and say, hey, man, this guy's nothing like you're expecting him to be. But he literally replaced me on the bowling team without my knowledge, and had the gall when I showed up on first night of fall bowling saying, well, you didn't come to the meeting. And so I assumed you weren't bowling with us anymore. And I'm going, 10 years, I have never come to the organizational meeting before the league. I show up the first night of bowling because I'm going to bowl.
Right, because you're going to bowl. You're not there to push a pencil. You did that for a career for years. You're there to bowl. Set up the pins.
And now I got picked up on another team in the league, and I'm still bowling with this guy within the league.
Are you bowling against him? Are you able to inflict some damage? All right. Well, there you go, Jeff. I mean, I'm sure you're going to polish your shoes with an extra chamois. And, and I'm sure you're going to give it a little bit of Fred Flintstone twinkle toes and take a pound of flesh out of this guy. But, what bothers me?
It hurt getting kicked to the curb over politics. This is bowling. This is where you say things like, we're safe for the time being. Yeah. We are in a bowling alley.
And you know what, Jeff? And you know what, too, man? It's like, it's a very, as you were telling me the story, I'm thinking, boy, this is as social a sport as it gets. I mean, sitting around in those semicircle little bowling, by the lane is like sitting on the bench at on a softball team. There's a lot of talk. It's a personal type of thing. You spend a lot of downtime in between, turns. And so, and plus, you know what bothered me too? I don't like the idea that this guy was passive aggressive and not, whether or not he told you about the meeting to put it off on the organizational meeting and say, I thought you weren't going to come. That's passive aggressive. That's cheap. That's a cowardly way to do it. If he really was a man of his convictions and was a man, he would have called you up, taken you out for a beer and said, we're going to either hash this out or it's my team and I just can't abide by a Trump guy and you're out. There would have been something respectable in that.
Yeah, but I'm not even a Trump guy. I was just trying to explain the guy. I've been around these people for all my life.
Yeah.
I know who the hell he is.
Yeah.
But no, to literally blow me off
that's
and blow off the high average on the team
because
of politics.
That's dumb.
We sit around, we shoot the breeze on everything.
Yep.
But I swerved into defending or what he appeared to think of as defending.
Yeah. Hey,
and
Jeff,
boom,
that sucks that happened, and I'm grateful that you called all the way from Virginia. Thank you. Safe driving out there. I did really enjoy pushing a hack, as we call it. I really enjoyed driving a cab back then. Really, 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 really enjoyed driving a taxi. Okay, I think Ellen's got a quick one here. Ellen in Jersey, you got an answer?
Yes, I do. I have the comic relief for this very heavy topic.
Yes,
evening.
Thank you.
Earlier in the show, you were asking about a song.
Yes, ma'am.
I believe it is from the Broadway musical The Music Man.
Yes!
It's called Pick a Little, Talk a Little.
Pick a little, talk a little, pick a little, talk a little. And to the person who complains about me singing,
pick.
To talk a lot, pick a little more. Pick a little, talk a little,
No,
pick a little.
go
Cheap,
ahead.
cheap, cheap. Talk a lot, pick a little more. Pick a little, talk a little, pick a little, talk a little. Cheap, 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 cheap. That is my, Ellen, comic relief. Absolutely. This is the palate cleanser that I needed. And I think maybe a lot of people, that is, I gotta say, Ellen, The Music Man is my guilty pleasure. So you're familiar. Do you love musicals? Do you love Broadway? Is it this one in particular?
Love Broadway, especially the old musicals. I've never, I used to, in high school, I was, in the chorus, and I worked mainly, my passion was backstage. I was stage manager.
Oh, wow.
But I, as a teacher later on, I had the chance to be involved in a lot more musicals. So The Music Man is one that came up quite frequently. Thinking back, it's been a long time. It took me a while to pull it together. I was between Oklahoma and Ado Annie, which was a possibility, and The Music Man. So,
oh my, well, first of all, you made my night with this, and I will make. It's funny. I won't even know that I'm doing it. I'll drop a Music Man reference at any given moment because it's a really funny show. It's a really sharply written, funny, and at times it's kind of saucy, a little racy with the ladies and some of their references, and and all that. And I'll tell you this. So I was a little kid. I saw The Music Man at a dinner theater in Westchester. Okay. I saw it at the Westchester Dinner Theater. And then I saw the movie, okay, with Robert Preston, and there is no other Music Man. My wife took me to see the version, the recent revival with, what's his name? The Australian Dreamboat. What's his name? Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman. Thank you, Tony. Hugh Jackman. I got to tell you something, Alan. This was it's one thing to see a guy like Hugh Jackman in front of a crowd of women, right? The place was packed with women who, like my wife, would leave me in a nanosecond for Hugh Jackman. But there were just as many gay men. It's a Broadway theater, Ellen, for the love of God, right?
Of course.
So there were arguably more gay men ready to run off with Hugh Jackman in this theater than women. It was magnificent. But I'll tell you this too. Here you go. This is one of my first little moments in life. It was really cute. Around 10, 11, 12, maybe 12 or 13 years old, my mom and dad took me and my younger brothers and sister to Disney World. We're at Disney World in Orlando. And they employed, at least at the time, I don't know if they still do, they would have a strolling barbershop quartet. And kid you not, there I was, 1970-something, 80-something, and it was, in fact, the Buffalo Bills who were the barbershop quartet, the school board, from the movie The Music Man with Robert Preston.
Really?
The Buffalo
cool?
Bills were actually employed at Disney World as the strolling barbershop quartet.
You're brazen. Now to take her ticket and punch it for her. Picked her out first crack like a cheap jack. Not much pick to her, if you ask me.
You guys are incredible.
Pick a little, talk a little. Cheap, cheap, cheap.
Here we go, Ellen. Let's go.
Pick a little, talk a little. Pick a little, talk a little. Cheap, cheap, cheap. Talk a lot. Pick a little more. Pick a little, talk a little. Pick a little, talk a little. Cheap, cheap, cheap. Talk a lot. Pick a little more. Pick a little, talk a little. Pick a little, talk. Cheap, cheap, cheap. Talk a lot. Pick a little more. Pick a little, talk a little. Pick a little, talk a little.
Cheap, 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 cheap.
Her kind of woman doesn't
Ellen,
belong on any
is this
committee.
great or what?
Of course, I shouldn't tell you this, but
it absolutely is.
I am
just what we needed tonight.
Indeed, indeed. Thank you so much, Ellen. Thank you for that breath of fresh air. Thank you for that oxygen. Very grateful for that. That is, I tell you, gang, I'm not a musicals guy. My wife took me to see, We had a friend on Broadway who is in Miss Saigon. My wife's a triple threat. She's a singer, dancer, actress. We had a friend on Broadway, and Miss Saigon. There was at one point I said to my wife, I said, if one of those guns is real, please let them just aim it at me. Get me out of here. Kill me. Get me the hell out of. I can't. Musicals in general. Yowza. Cannot even. The Music Man. All day. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-WABC. Lois in Pennsylvania. Lois, good morning.
Good morning.
Hi there.
Hi. About 3 months ago, I was listening to the channels. I was listening to somebody to watch, and I heard this guy, and he was talking about the different situations that were happening in our country.
Yeah.
And then at the end, and this hit me in the heart, at the end of this sentence, he said, the Lord has opened the door to everyone's heart. Now everybody is exposed. I keep asking my friends, did you hear this? Nobody else has heard this.
No, I never.
That we're being, and it's every day this burns in my heart. It's like, why am I thinking about this?
Say the quote again.
Okay, the door has opened. He says, I have opened the door to your heart, and now you are all exposed.
That's heavy.
So and then I saw all these things happening, and then this murder with Charlie.
Yep.
It's like I saw all these things happening. It's like, is this like a warning or what? But it shows who you are and and what you are capable of doing.
Yeah, and you know, and again, when you think about it, and I really didn't consider it until, you know, again, hindsight is 20/20. Every once in a while, you turn around and you look back at that valley that you just walked through. And I mean, not that my valley or your valley compares to the people who have, you know, been at the epicenter of these trials and tribulations, like Charlie Kirk's family and his wife, etc. But it wasn't until yesterday, Friday afternoon, preparing for the show, that it really hit me about just in the last, again, 17 days, we've experienced every sort of stimuli, good, bad, negative, indifferent, sad, happy, elation, spiritual. We've talked about Jesus and we've talked about Nazis. We've called people, Cardinal Dolan got in trouble with some nuns because he referred to Charlie Kirk as, I mean, he lightly glanced and said he's like a modern day St. Paul. We've had people, we've talked about St. Paul and other people have called him a fascist. We have literally been we've been talking about First Amendment rights and why Charlie Kirk needs, and why Jimmy Kimmel needs to shut up. Honestly, we have been all over the map, and all of it has been at the highest level of intensity, right, Lois? Aren't you exhausted since Charlie Kirk passed?
I'll tell you what, I saw him on a few programs, but really didn't know him. But I'll tell you what, there is such an emptiness in my heart since he died.
Yes.
And it's like, I don't even know you personally.
I know. And my daughter, I have a 16-year-old, and she's a real devotee. I've had to keep a close eye on my daughters because they both really liked him, and they're both his target group. They're 16 and 13, my daughters. So my wife and I are keeping a close eye on them. Lois, thank you so much for calling in. Thank you very, very much. I'm glad you're there and listening, and it means the world. I really do appreciate it. It's 424, gang. And my thought to, real quick, we kind of touched on it with what was that? Forgive me for not remembering your name there, but the friend with the 5 buttons on the TV. But the high road, you know, sometimes you take the high road, but not for the benefit of the other person, but for yourself. And in sobriety, I'm just going to touch on our recovery conversation. In sobriety, you know, one of the steps involves making amends. And you make, you can make the amends, you know, you're doing it. It seems like it's one of those happy bait and switches in sobriety, in the 12 steps. There's a few moments where it's kind of a bait and switch. You think you're doing something for XYZ, but it turns out you're doing it because of PDQ. And I know that makes zero sense. I apologize. My point is, this thing, conventional wisdom is when you apologize to somebody, you're doing it for them. You are proactively saying you are sorry. I am sorry. You were right and I was wrong. And that is for you, friend who I wronged. That's the bait. The switch is when you make amends in some cases, very often if you do it right, you're doing it for yourself too, because you got to let yourself off the hook. And so to Ben, with the 50-something year friendship that went down the tubes with the bird hunting pal, maybe, because, and now I know, look, he wronged you with what he said, but there's a certain resentment that you've built up over the years that you can own, and you can apologize for your part in that. So, see, we all have a part in every vitriol, in every vitriolic instance or relationship or argument or fight. Innocent though he may be, there is a part that we played, even if it's just the innocent. And so, for your own edification, for your own clarity, and your own, to unburden yourself, Ben, you can unburden yourself and feel really 100% better about the entire thing if you actually called and said, look, I want to make amends for my part in that. I should have, if there was anything you could have done in that moment, I should have just changed the subject. I should have gone the other way. It's not just being the bigger man and taking a knee. You're actually standing up straight for yourself, Ben. Think about that. Just maybe make that call. 1-800-848-9222. And we got, let's see. Oh, we got, Chris in Yonkers. Chris, good morning on line 5. Hello there.
Hi, TJ.
Hi.
TJ McCormick, right?
I'm sorry, sir?
TJ McCormick, right?
That's me. Yes, still. Yep. All day. That's me, baby.
Now,
good to talk to you again.
Let me ask you something private. Are you a woman or a man?
I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Why are you asking?
We don't have to stand this. I was just curious. My girlfriend couldn't tell either. I thought you were a guy, but she thought you were a girl.
Okay. Yeah. No, I am. I'm a girl.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Good. There goes Chris and his odd little drunken world. So, clearly we know where we know the dust pile that Chris now resides on. I don't know if he thought he was being creative. I seem to now remember that we had a run-in on something. I forget what the run-in was about. Oh, and there he is up there. Odd creature. Yeah, no, it's okay. Yonkers is the city of hills. And with any luck, yeah, this winter will be unkind to whatever hill Chris finds himself at the top of, and potentially racing towards the bottom. Let's get over to Pamela in Jersey.
Hey, good morning.
Hi there, Pamela. Good to talk to you again, as always. You remember my friend Chris with the creative comedy jokokes?
Oh,
yeah. He's lovely.
It kind of ties into my topic.
Oh, good. Go ahead.
Long-time friendships and family members, of course, they're important.
Mm.
But sometimes in life, you bump into who they really are, and then you find out, gee, I'm free of that. And there's so many, sometimes people stay connected to these people way too long, and they're toxic in their life.
Yes.
There's so many good people out there that you can make family and friends out of. I mean, the people who run my animal place that my charity, oh God, they're such good people. They're such good people. And whenever I'm feeling down about humanity, I always think of them, and there's good people out there. Just look for them and stop, being depressed over people who, maybe good riddance to,
Yeah.
I mean, Who wants to be tied to a lefty Democrat, with their negativity and everything the rest of your life?
And you know what? You know what's interesting, Pamela? In this case, I mean, look, I would never ever trade in this friend of mine. This was a genuine, earnest concern that she has for me. And as I said too, and again, I really wanted to have a live conversation with her this morning. I really did. And it would have been, I think, fascinating. And,
if you're hurt by truth, if a friend or family member gives you some truth and it hits you in the gut, I mean, that's a little different. That's a little different. And you come to the realization that, maybe they're right, and that's different. But we're talking about somebody who's
the toxic people. Yeah.
I'm not your friend anymore because you had this opinion about immigration. Yeah. It's like, say what?
Right.
What?
Hey, and you know what? Like I have a friend right now that I'm in touch with, over the years. This one goes back about like 30 years actually, in television, and, a producer friend. And I remember a couple of people in the later the first Trump administration. Remember the whole QAnon thing? Remember that the whole right? And it started off as an interesting thing, going, wait, what's this movement? Wait, who's talking about what? And then there were some truly hardcore people that I started getting these marathon like text messages from Pamela with like references and dates and soon to be revealed. And I mean like I would have to scroll my phone to get to the bottom of a text from like one or two of these people. And I have a friend, this 30-something year friend who's on the other side of the spectrum politically and is starting to truly talk about a derangement thing, really starting to devolve. And I'm actually worried for their wellness, their mental wellness. And it's kind of it's an opposite QAnon thing. It's the deepest crazy conspiracies about conservatives, and it's just like wacko stuff. And I'm concerned, but now they're starting to get like really hateful and spiteful towards me. And I'm starting to see the, break glass in case of emergency. I think I'm there.
Yeah. Well, back off from that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, sometimes you run into somebody from high school and you always thought to yourself, gee, I should have kept in touch with that.
Yeah.
And then you meet up with them and it's like, oh, okay. Now I realize why I didn't keep in touch with that person.
Yeah. Turns out I'm fine. Yeah. Okay. That was good coffee, but that's off. Hey, listen, exactly. Pamela, you're the best. I love you. I'm so grateful that you called. You the best. All right, gang, going to take a quick break. We come back. We got Joaquin, Joseph, and Mike. We shall get to all y'all. It's Another Side of Midnight with me, TJ, on 77. I'm all man. WABC.
All night long. This is Another Side of Midnight
with TJ McCormack.
77 WABC. It's Another Side of Midnight.
Political humorist TJ McCormack.
Now, to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC.
Here's TJ McCormack.
1-800-848-9222. It's Another Side of Midnight with me, TJ. Boy, we have covered everything this morning. And we're going to cover even more tomorrow. I didn't get a chance to get there as much as in depth as I wanted to, but we'll talk about it. I think we can really hit it tomorrow morning. But the New York Times, you've heard in the news breaks about, it was, again, her name, or her nom de plume was Joanne Chesmard, right? And, it was the woman who was, convicted of murdering Twitter is en fuego for the, at TJ McCormack. Wow. You can look at this with the clip. The music, man. Thank you, Marianne K. The New York Times, covered the story of the death of this awful woman, this murderer, Assata Shakur. And just briefly, we'll dig into this tomorrow morning, but in the grand tradition of the New York Times, they refer to this woman heroically as a black revolutionary. She found sanctuary in Cuba for decades. She found sanctuary, like she's a little bird or an abused zebra or a hurt kitten with one eye because they were dragged in the back of a truck. Right. No, she was a murderer. She was a cop killer. She's a cop killer. And the New York Times refers to this cop killer as a black revolutionary who found sanctuary in Cuba from the bad people. Sanctuary from the bad people. Where she was serving, this is the ultimate, they saved the best kick in the teeth or whatever body part you want to throw in there for the end. She escaped from a New Jersey prison where she was serving a life sentence in the 1973 shooting death of a state trooper. Not the murder. The shooting death. I really believe the New York Times just plain old, but yet, and what's funny too, up here, they have no problem assigning the word murderer to Oscar Pistorius, who, yes, he murdered his girlfriend, or he killed his girlfriend, killed her, murdered her. Anyway, yeah, they have no problem throwing that at him, which he deserves. He murdered his girlfriend. But Assata Shakur, yeah, black revolutionary, found sanctuary. Oh, bless her. Sanctuary. 1-800-848-9222. I did the New York Times. Oh God, that was the best subscription I ever canceled. That was the best subscription I ever Oh gosh. Oh, what a purge that was. They are just awful. Let's get over to. So I know I definitely wanted to check that box. So I know I mentioned it earlier. I didn't want to leave it totally dangling, but we can get into that and the New York Times. We'll get into that a little bit more detail Sunday morning. We got about 20 minutes before we get to Liz Radavali and the 5 a.m. newscast. And again, it's always open, by the way, this time in the morning on a Saturday. If you do have any burning thoughts, desires, concerns about recovery, your own or maybe somebody else's that you think maybe should happen, whatever. I touched on one of the 12 steps, the very, very beautiful, and the unburdening for oneself that can happen when you make amends. It's one of the great things within the 12 steps. Anyway, I'm always 1-800-848-9222 if that's something that you want to just kick around a little bit. We can also do it tomorrow. Let's see. Joseph in Bay Ridge. Joseph, good morning. Welcome.
Hi, TJ.
Hi.
I just want to say, first of all, that that WABC is lucky to have somebody to sit in for Lionel of his caliber. I mean, you're on a par with Lionel, which is saying a lot.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. Although this is a freestanding show. I am another side of midnight.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
But thank you. Thank you for the kind words. That makes me feel good. Lionel is a legend in this business, and it's very cool to be a colleague of his. He is one of a kind. And thank you for that. That means a lot.
You're welcome. I was wondering if you were aware of the 1998 Nicolas Cage film called Snake Eyes, which is weirdly predictive of the Charlie Kirk assassination.
Really? No, I know the movie, never saw it. I know the title, and I know Nicolas Cage, and I know the title, but I never saw the film. That's interesting. This is the first I heard of that connection.
Yeah, there are a lot of bizarre coincidences. The person shot in the movie is sitting down. He's shot in the neck, and his name is Charles Kirkland.
Oof.
Okay.
Wow.
The shooting occurs in the film on September 10th.
Whoa.
The shooter is a guy called Lincoln Tayel or something like that. So it's just a series of really spooky. And the whole tenor of the film is sort of like political and apocalyptic as well. So I just thought I'd alert that to you if you didn't know of it.
No, I didn't.
And your listeners as well, because it's quite. It was quite shocking when I found it.
Wow. I mean, it's pretty wild. Yeah. Thank you, Joseph. Thank you very much, buddy. I appreciate that. I'm always glad for a unique call with a funky perspective. That's cool. 1-800-848-9222. And let's get over to Charlie in Cherry Hill. Charlie, good morning.
Good morning, sir. I want to talk to you about the death of Joanne Chesmar.
By all means.
Very good. Yeah, good riddance of bad rose.
Indeed.
Also, she's known as Anna Monica Shakur. A lot of people don't know this, but that's Tupac Shakur's aunt, the rapper, Tupac Shakur, who was also died. So she's had for many, many years her own following and fan club because of people who like rap music and who are into that kind of music, who like Tupac Shakur. Well,
and then another group of people who hate cops. I mean, she made them happy.
Oh, yeah, she really did. But it was horrible what people don't know around. He was a young guy, Warner Foster. He was a young state trooper. He had a young wife. He had two little girls they grew up without their father, obviously. I mean, it was just awful. And they died in a gunfight on the New Jersey Turnpike in a gun battle. And it was tragic. It was horrible. And like I said, she was in Trenton State Prison, and her colleagues broke into the prison and broke her out of the prison with guns. It's just awful. And then she appears once she gets broken out of prison. She appears and ends up in Cuba. And of course, Fidel Castro was more than happy to give her asylum and stick it.
Was that in the 70s? I mean, because 73 shooting death. So what was that? Maybe 76 or 77 that she busted out of jail.
Around that, yeah.
Because I was a little kid. How? And so I'm ashamed to wonder out loud, and maybe tomorrow when we have more time, we can dig into this. How in the hell did somebody break into that Trenton prison, get her out, and then she's able to make her way, I guess by a boat, she's able to make her way down to Florida, and then clearly by a boat because Cuba's an island. Or who knows, maybe a plane. But Charlie, I'm fascinated. I've known her name. I've known who she is. I know what she did. I know what she was convicted of. And I knew that she was in Cuba. Until today, I didn't really remember because it's just in that odd pocket of my childhood where I wasn't aware of anything. Well, I wasn't aware of the story about her being broken out of prison. I need to learn more about that and how the heck she landed in Cuba, was able to make it there all the way from Jersey.
Well, she was smuggled by her friends in the cohorts of the Black Liberation Army. Once they got her out of jail, then she didn't stick around or hang around the United States very long. She pretty much made it down to Florida, and like you said, Cuba, it's only
90 miles. 90 miles away.
90 miles. Right. So somehow, either by plane or by boat.
Crazy.
Probably by boat. Yeah, she went the other way. You've got Cuban people trying to escape here and get to Florida, but she went the other way.
And I tell you, Charlie, it's what the most disgusting thing is the times and how she sought sanctuary in Cuba.
Yeah.
She was deserving of sanctuary, Charlie. I gotta jump. You gotta forgive me, Charlie. I'm so sorry. I gotta take this break. And when we come back, we will finish it with Hannah, Joaquin, And as tradition holds, we'll go to Mike to wrap up the show. It's 4:47. It's Another Side of Midnight with TJ McCormick on 77 WABC.
All night long, this is Another Side of Midnight
with TJ McCormack.
77 WABC. It's Another Side of Midnight.
Political humorist TJ McCormick.
Now, to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC.
Here's TJ McCormack.
Not sure if everyone was hip to this, but turns out we were indeed born to be alive. Next, we'll cover When a Man Loves a Woman. Very, very. 4:52 here on 77 WABC. I'm TJ. It's Another Side of Midnight, getting you over to Liz with the 5 a.m. newscast. And we'll be back here tomorrow morning for more. And you know what I think we'll do tomorrow also. A couple of months ago, I brought in this great, the conversation about Broadway kind of triggered this little thought. I brought in this book that was it was a visitor's guidebook to New York City from 1964, 65. It's like 1,000 pages, this thing. Okay. It's a hardcover travel book with recommendations that just about, I'd say probably a full third. Okay. When you think about that, a third of the restaurants, almost all of the hotels of a certain grade and up are covered in this thing. Nightclubs, bars, restaurants, I said restaurants, hotels, dancing, barbershops, translation companies, churches, they cover it's basically Google in a book if you were coming to New York in 1965. And the offerings, I've got to say, that was when New York truly was the city that never slept. The offerings, you could go on a Tuesday night to like 15 different places to see live jazz. Until 4 a.m. You know what I mean? Like that. New York City had to be the greatest thing. I mean, that's where the reputation was earned. That's when it was all the shock and awe about New York City. It was earned back then. And the Broadway conversation, if you ever have a chance, I don't have my New York Times subscription anymore, but when I did, you're able to go on their website and go to their archives, and it was called the Times Machine. You take a look at the Broadway listings from like a Sunday paper, and it's all digitized. Obviously, it's a website. You look at and it's images of the newspaper itself. You're reading the newspaper, the paper. The ads for Broadway, you take a look at certain junctures, and it goes all the way back to the 1800s, but you look in the certain times in the 50s and the 60s, when at any given moment on Broadway, you had Oklahoma, you could have had, actually a better example. You had like South Pacific was there at the same time as My Fair Lady, at the same time as West Side Story. And, and then you had the early 70s where you had Pippin, and you had, Fiddler on the Roof, and you had Funny Girl. Again, I'm mixing some of them up here time-wise, but you look at some eras of Broadway. I mean, there was one time when I think Neil Simon had like 3 or 4 productions up at once. All killing it. Anyway, so we'll maybe I'll bring in that guidebook tomorrow morning. Do some of that little look back and talk about good old days in New York City that like wish I was alive for. All right, Hannah in the Bronx. Hannah, good morning. Oh, Hannah. Oh, Hannah, did you fall asleep? Oh, it's very early. Very late. Hannah, you still there? Oh. Okay. Hannah? Sweetie? You want some water? Honey? Okay. Let's just quietly step out of the room and let Hannah continue to. Okay. We'll click the door. I'll turn the knob and I'll pull it closed and I won't click it. I'll just ease it shut. Okay. Shh. Everyone be quiet. Hannah's sleeping. Okay. Let's get over to Joaquin. Joaquin in PA. Good morning there, old buddy boy. How
Good morning there. Father T.J. McCormick, forgive me for I continue to sin. I love nothing more than going online and finding some of these leftists and trolling them.
Okay.
And you'd be surprised at what they send back to me.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. But anyway, you know something? I'm going to say one thing, though.
Yes.
I don't know why we've allowed the left to believe that they're on the side of the angels, okay, and that we made the biggest mistake ever, lacking the ability to label them and to point them out for exactly the little Hitler brown shirt minions that they actually are.
Yep.
So I'm gonna let you go so you can get to Mike and he can have a chance to razz me before he goes.
All right. Well, we'll spend more time tomorrow morning, Joaquin. Okay. Make sure you call in tomorrow, and we'll definitely spend some more time. And all right, Mikey Ooch, South Carolina, bringing up the rear here.
Well, thank you, Joaquin, for allowing me a second or two. Where's my drumsticks? Rim shot. You know, I'll tell you what, TJ.
Yes, sir.
And I'll make it quick.
Sure.
I live 15 minutes away from Bethpage Park. There's 5 18-hole golf courses.
Okay.
And what a round of applause for Donald Trump.
Yeah.
You know, before the first tee, and that should continue. And you know, I got to say this in closing. The murder of Charlie Kirk, that's got to turn around the mindset of the whole country because enough is enough with what's going on. And, you know, this Crockett and Maxine Waters, you got to tone down your rhetoric.
Yep.
She even referred to Kirk as like a slave master. Give me a break, man.
Disgusting.
Give me a break. Let's get real. And I'll leave you with this.
Yes.
Thank God. Myself and others included, you told that guy never to call my show again from White Plains.
All right then, Mike. Thank you so much, buddy. And thank you to I tell you what, I had a feeling, and it sure enough, it panned out. I followed my gut on that personal experience, and sure enough, man, for 3 hours we related just exactly as beautifully as I anticipated. Thank you so much for being there. Thank you for supporting this show, this program. Thank you to Mr. Katz and to Chad and everybody here at WABC for giving me the keys every Saturday and Sunday morning from 2 to 5 a.m. Beyond grateful for all of you supporting the show and participating, and each of you, when you call, you make it better, and I'm grateful for that. All right, gang, time for Liz Radabali and the 5 a.m. newscast. I will be back here tomorrow morning, Sunday morning at 2 a.m. And until then, I do wish you all the luck in the world.
It's Another Side of Midnight, 77 WABC. This Sunday is the Tunnel to Towers Foundation Walk Run, and our team is in need of your support. Right now, every dollar counts. The WABC hosts must all rally their loyal audience to participate. Go to WABCRadio.com/walk and help your favorite hosts right here at WABC and support the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Go to WABCRadio.com/walk. Help WABC raise money for the amazing Tunnel to Towers Foundation Walk Run. Go to WABCRadio.com/walk.